Right then, getting back to this Supra and getting this bloody wiring finished off because it's starting to really bug me now. I've been waiting on a few crimps to turn up, so the little ring crimps for doing the earths with. I did have some, but these are the ones that I did have. And as you can see, I might not pick it up on the camera, but the ones that I did have are these ones here, and as you can see they're quite thin and flimsy, whereas the new ones I've got are a lot thicker and chunkier. So I just didn't fancy using the thin ones because if I put some amps through them, some shorts or something like that, I don't want anything melting, especially when it's to do with fuel. So yeah, so I ordered them. They're a lot better crimps than what I had, so I'm now going to get on now and sort out all the wiring, make sure pump 1 and pump 2 are completely separate and I'm not crossing wires over where I don't need to. So yeah, let's get to it. Right, so what I've done is with the wiring here, as you can see, the pump wiring, there's 4 wires, obviously 1 positive and 1 negative for each pump. They go through to these plugs here, and then the plugs then into the relays, and the relays, the wires continue round for the earths, and basically, can't see it there, let me angle you up. So yeah, so it goes from the pumps here through to the plugs, up to the relays, and then from the relays it goes round and up to where the battery is going to be located, up there in that corner. So I've used my, let me get the multimeter. So I put the multimeter just on continuity mode, so that when you touch the wires together you get an audible beep. So what I've done there is I've separated the wires here, so that when I've got one in the positive port on there, I know that it's one of these 2 wires at the pump end that are going to be either pump 1 or pump 2. So that must be pump 1 and this one must be pump 2. There you go, so you got the beep. So that is pump 2 plug because it's on the right hand side, pump 1 plug is on the left. So I know that that's the positive for pump 2. So I'm going to do the same now with the negative. As I pop that into there, and then get me probe and just double check that. So that's pump 2 negative. So now I know that I've got pump 1, pump 2 wires sorted there. I've done the same for the continuation from the relay. So obviously I've marked them up now, pump 2 and pump 1. So they will then feed through there, and then I know which earths are which and which of the positives go into the battery, blah blah blah. So all I'm going to do now is start cutting these wires on the pump side and getting some crimps put on those terminals. So as you can see on top of the ports here, I've got a positive, a negative, a positive and a negative. I lifted out the pump earlier on and just had a look to see which is which on the pumps underneath. So now that I know those, I just need to cut the wires to a sufficient length and then I can get them crimped. I've only got a massive tripod, so I can't really get in here with it to show you. But yeah, that's the end now cut. I'm just going to strip the end using my little strippers, so I'll get on with that. Can't really do it with one hand to show you the full process. I'd love to have a little tripod just sat here and holding it for me, but unfortunately I don't. So I'll just get on and do this and then show you after. And there we go, that's it, that end stripped. So what I'm going to do now, before I forget, a bit of heat shrink on there. Don't let it go all the way down the wire down there and disappear, because I'll never get it back. So now I'm going to get the crimp put on. I'll try. So these are the crimps. As you can see, they're a lot more chunkier than the other ones that I just showed you before. So I'll get this crimped on now and show you it crimped on. And there you have it. So as you can see, it just puts a great big indentation in the top of the crimp there, which squashes down to a wire underneath. You can see the wire through that little visual window there. So now I've got sufficient wire inside the crimp. Next thing I need to do is just put a bit of heat shrink up to there and get that shrunk down. And that there is one crimp complete, so that is now going to be installed on there. Obviously this wire is going to be tucked underneath, it's not going to be sat over the top there. So it'll all look nice and neat once it's finished. So now all I've got to do is do the same for the other three, so I'll just do that and then get back to you. And there we go, so that's those 4 ends made out. I just need to get some nuts on there now to clamp them down with, but I can do that later. Next job to do is plug all this lot back together, make sure every end I've got, because I'm going to try and label them all up to where the earths are going to go. So I'm going to put 4 little riv nuts into here, and they're going to be the 4 earthing points for the fuel pumps. So obviously I've got the 2 earths from the main pumps themselves, which just run through the plugs and to the earth, and then there's also the earths for the relays cars. Basically just they run their own earthing system. Honestly, I'm so tired today, it's untrue. For those of you new to my YouTube channel, I do work nights, so sometimes I just waffle. But yes, that's my next task now, is to get some holes drilled, get the riv nuts put in there, and then get the crimps made up for the ends of those wires. So I've marked out there where I want to put my 4 riv nuts, so let's get them drilled out. Right, so that's some riv nuts put in place. I'm a bit miffed because those 3 are nice in a row and that one isn't, because the fucking drill wandered. But yes, so now I've got those in place. Just go around the side of this car here. So where the wires come through here now, I'm going to terminate them with some ring tags. I'll probably keep plenty of excess so then I can route them down the bottom there, keep them out of the way. But yeah, it's we're getting there. Right, so that's all of those complete. As you can see now, they're all bolted up. So if I take, once I get all these wires untwisted, so if I take my multimeter now, this one should be the direct pump earth. So pump 1 earth, pump 2 earth, and this one will be pump 1 relay earth, and that's pump 2 relay earth. So now that's all them lot put in place. I just need to tighten them up down here on the actual pumps themselves. These are all tightened up. All I've got to do now is do a bit of a tidy up, get rid of all this swarf and give us a good cleaning up. But in terms of electrics, that's it now, complete in terms of the pump side of stuff, apart from these 2 wires, which are the direct lives, which go through the relays to the pumps via the battery. So once the battery's in, I can then sort these 2 wires out, but until then there's not really a lot I can do with them apart from just leave them dangling there until I get a battery sorted. But yeah, we're making progress. So the next part of the puzzle is the enclosing of all these pipes into the top here. So let me just move my tripod out of the way. So the original, just let me get it. So the original lid that used to go on there was that, but as you can see, there's a sizable gap underneath there. So what I'm going to do is this. So I've had a lad at work measure this for me. Well, I sort of measured it prior and he's double checked it for me. What I've got is this ring here. So that ring is going to be drilled to the same hole PCD as what's on there, like so. And then I've got a lid here, so that'll be the lid for it. So all I need to do is cut a flat piece of steel and bend it to the same shape as the lid, and then that will cover everything up. So that'll keep me nice and safe if I get rear-ended, stops any fuel from the fuel tank exploding, squirting through and coming into the cabin and igniting. So that's my next on the list, is to get a piece of steel cut, get the holes transferred through from the original lid, and then get cracking with that. So I've made a start by laying this up onto that ring, and I have marked the location of the holes. So if I take that off now, you can see the witnesses. So these just need drilling out now, and then we're good to go. There we have it. So I've drilled out all them holes. So let's go see if it fits. that goes on there like that. There you go, fits. So now all I've got to do now is measure the height from this base to the top of these pipes, make sure I'm giving myself enough clearance, which from memory I did it before and I think it was about 8 centimetres, so if I do it to 8.5 I should be good. So I've got my ruler on there, as you can see it's around about 8.5 centimetres to clear it, so that's what I'm going to go and cut a band out to now. So now that I know the height that I need, I also need to know the measurement across the centre there. So from hole to hole, it's currently 23, 24, 5, 6, 27. So 270 mil. So now I've got to work out a bit of is it Pythagoras? I don't know. Whatever it's called, trigonometry. Oh, fuck it, it's not. Since high school, I ain't done any of that shite. I'm 40 now. So yeah, I just need to figure out how much of a circumference I need in order to make a ring to go all the way around there. So I'm just going to go figure that out now, and then we'll take it from there. So in order to work out the circumference of that, it is the C, which we know, which is your distance across from point to point, times pi or whatever that. But do you remember doing all this bollocks at school? Well, anyway, I've worked it out. So it's your circumference equals pi times your distance across your centre. So it's pi, which is 3.146, times your 247, which gives you 776.7 millimetres. But because of the decimal point, you move it back, so you get 77 mil, 777 centimetres, sorry. But if you're ever in a pickle, what you can do, mark the piece that you've got, so that obviously you know that that is the size that you need. Just let me get my pen, and then you can do this. So I'll shift some stuff off the floor out of the way, looms, grab my pen again, sorry, I've no tripod for this at the minute, so it's hard work with one hand. So get your mark, put it on the edge of your piece of steel, keep it in as straight a line as possible, and roll your steel until you get to said point. And once you're at said point there, give it a mark, and you know where you are, and then you can measure your calculation there, which was 76.7, which is basically 77 centimetres. Come along down here, 70, oh, my maths is rubbish, 770. You do know I'm dyslexic, don't you? So numbers for me just don't math in my head. So that is 77.6. So this should read 75, 76, 77 millimeters, which is there 0.6. So that there is your measurement. So the calculations on the cardboard work out to the piece of steel that I've just rolled along a piece of steel. So if you're ever in a pickle and you don't quite know how to measure something, that's how my dyslexic brain does it. The math side of stuff I'm not great at, but physical stuff, just offer stuff up, see if it fits. That's how I go about daily life. So yes, so now that's sort of measured up, all I need to do now is mark out the 8.5 centimetre strip and then get it cut. And there we go, so I've got that line marked out, so that's my 8.5 centimetres. My stop point is here, but I might as well just cut it all off, and then I can just got a little piece to chop off at the end. So yeah, I might as well just dig out the plasma cutter. So I always forget that I've got that plasma cutter. It's just tucked away there in corner at garage, and I always forget it's there. But for jobs like this, it makes things an absolute breeze. So all I'm going to do now is I just need to cut that to length, and then we'll get it somewhat wrapped around something. I might even wrap it around something first so I've got a bit of extra leverage. And then yeah, we'll get the get it cut to length and get it wrapped around something so it's the same shape as that disc. So all I've found in garden is a Caligas bottle, so I'm going to try and roll that piece of steel around it, 'cause it's about the same size. It's not too far off, so it should be alright. There we go, so that's it somewhat bent. It's always nice when you see one of them flying over. Nice Eurofighter. So yes, so now that's been sort of pre-bent, all I need to do is stick that on the deck. I'm going to tack it into place, and then I'll roll tack, roll tack, roll tack all the way around, and make sure that it's nice and circular. That's just about to start welding now, so I'm not going to film it because I don't want to destroy my camera lens, and also I ain't got a tripod to hold it with. So I'm literally just going to start with a tack here, pull it in, tack it, pull it in, tack it all the way around so that I've got a nice snug fit. So I've got that as near as damn it now, so as you can see I've just spot welded it all the way around the inside. So all I've got to do now is just trim off this excess piece here. So I'll get the angle grinder out and get on with that. So that's all welded up. Not my neatest to welds, I must admit, but it'll getting smoothed out later anyway, so it doesn't matter. So now all I've got to do is I've offered this up to that little part, so now it looks a bit like a top hat. So I'm just going to spot weld that on now in a few places, double check everything fits, and then once I'm happy I'll get it all welded up fully. And there we have it. So that's it all, everything welded up now. I'm just going to let that cool down a bit before I go at it with grinder. But yeah, so that's it. That's what I wanted it to look like. Obviously welds aren't quite up to scratch. There's quite a few like little bits of wire and stuff sticking out there where I slipped off the edge. But for a DIYer, it's not too bad that. Wow, that clamp's hot. So yes, I'm going to get that cooled down and I'll grind it all up and make it look nice. So I'll show you in a minute. And there we have it, finished product. Still a little bit warm. I don't want to pick it up where it's red hot. But yeah, nothing fancy, nothing major. Just a nice little top hat to cover over all of the fuel system. Give it a whirl. And the holes, and there we go. So that's it, all sorted. So now all that's left to do is to put a little dink in the top of there so that I can still run the standard space saver wheel. I don't know whether I'm going to do that yet or not, so I'll leave it for now, but that is somewhat the plan. But yeah. But for now, that is everything in the boot, complete, minus those two wires. So that is now the end of the fuel pumping saga. I just need to get a new battery now, and then that's that bit sorted. But other than that, yeah, we're good to go with hopefully getting the engine sorted out. But anyway, I'll catch you in the next video, and I'll see you soon. Bye.